If you care about automation, you care about shortcuts, if you care about productivity, this is the video for you. I'm gonna actually walk you through how I set up each new device I get to ensure I maximize my chances of success when it comes to productivity, but more importantly, when it comes to just getting the most out of shortcuts. All right, so as you can see, here we are. As you can see, this is a brand new setup. This is my iPad 10th generation, iPad Air. I did a reset on it so I could be able to create this video and show you how I would set it up. So first things first, I don't care who you are, what you do. If you're into productivity, you know you need 4 things. The very first thing we need is a calendar app. Now, you can pick whatever calendar app you want. I personally like Fantastical. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to download Fantastical. All right, this is Fantastical right here. Now, the reason why I like Fantastical, honestly, is because I've been using it so long that I've gotten used to the setup. I like the features of it and things like that. I don't like the fact that I have to still use the native built-in calendar app to do certain things because Fantastical just don't do it, which is mind-boggling for the amount of money we pay for it. But hey, what it does do, it does well. So this is my first app. This is my calendar of choice, which is Fantastical. So I'm just going to click right here to install it. Now, the very next app you're going to need is some type of task manager app. My task manager app of choice is OmniFocus. I know OmniFocus get a lot of slack, but I really like OmniFocus because it gives you so much customization you can do in it. But more importantly, you got so many different ways of being able to dice up your information, dice up your tasks, as well as bolt on even more automations to it. So that's the main reason why I like OmniFocus for, because the power it comes with is unmatched. So the next thing we're going to install is OmniFocus. And this right here is OmniFocus. I'm going to just click right there. But this is OmniFocus. It comes with a 2-week free trial. If you have another task manager that you prefer over this, I recommend you just use that one. But this right here is how OmniFocus looks. It's pretty good. I really, really like it. And that's the one I'm going to be using. The very next thing we need is a note-taking app. Now, my note-taking app of choice for a long time has been Drafts. However, Obsidian has been doing some really cool stuff right now. And as much as it pains me to say it, Obsidian has surpassed Drafts in a lot of different things. So right now, my app of choice is Obsidian. So we're going to install Obsidian. Now, you're going to install whichever app your preferred one is. But I also want you to know that every single app I pick also has actions built into it for shortcuts. That's another reason why I pick those as well. All right, so let's install Obsidian. All right, so I'm just gonna click right here to install it. And this is Obsidian. The cool thing about it is it's 100% free. You don't have to, pay anything if you don't want to. I spent some money on it. I think I paid for Catalyst, which gives me, updates faster than everybody else. But I mainly did it because I want the app to stick around. I wanted to support it. But this is the app right here. Now, the last thing you need if you want the complete system is some place to store your stuff. So some people use iCloud and things like that. For me personally, while I do use iCloud, I use an app called DevonThink because DevonThink is a file management system that OCRs all your stuff. It makes it super easy to search. It's extremely powerful. It's kind of geeky, but it is a very, very powerful, place to store your data once you finish with it. Or if you have something you want to come back to, DevonThink is where it's at. So let's take a look at DevonThink. So on the iPad is DevonThink to go. So we can click right here and I could just show it to you. Like you have different databases, tags, like I said, OCR. You can do all kind of stuff up in here. Bookmark. It's pretty cool. It's amazing what this app can do. And when you bring it to your laptop, oh man, it really get powerful. So this is DevonThink. Those are the 4 main categories that I download before I start expanding shortcuts. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to come back over here and we're going to install shortcuts. Now, if you might have had it on your, device and deleted it because you wasn't using it, this is shortcuts right here. And like I said, natively out the box, it's pretty good. Like it's definitely usable. However, there are some ways we can extend shortcuts. The very first way we're going to extend shortcuts is by adding more actions to it. And we can use Toolbox Pro for that. It's right here, Toolbox Pro for shortcuts. I'm going to install it. When I click right here, this is actually going to show me a video. I don't want to do that. But it adds 130 plus powerful powerful new actions to our shortcuts. And one of the shortcuts that I can tell you right up front that you're going to want is the sort action. So in native shortcuts, there is no sort. Like if you want to sort alphabetically or in order, that doesn't exist. It's called filter files, which is counterintuitive. But in Toolbox Pro, they actually have one called sort, and you can sort lists and all that other cool stuff super easily. That's one of the main reasons why I like Toolbox Pro. It has a ton of other actions up in there that can help you out when there's certain things you want to do that's not baked into shortcuts automatically. So that's the first one, Toolbox Pro. The next one is we want to add some more actions to shortcuts. So the next one, coincidentally, is going to be called actions. And that's this one right here. Now, it doesn't look like much, but I promise you, this is a super powerful utility. Now, why they just put one photo, I don't know, but I promise you it's worth downloading. All right, once you got that one installed, dealing with shortcuts, you're going to want a way to be able to manage your text that you're putting in shortcuts. So if you're creating templates that you want to keep on reusing, the last thing you want to do is create a template inside of shortcuts. Then you go to that template, you duplicate that because you now want to use that same template someplace else, but you want to make a few tweaks to it. So if you ever want to come back and edit it, then you got to edit each one of those instances of shortcut. We don't got time for all that. We're going to use data jar, and we're going to store all of our information inside of data jar. So if we ever want to update it later, we just go back to data jar, and data jar will update it in every single shortcut we're using that specific value on. All right, let's install data jar. All right, so this is data jar right here. I have a video on data jar. I'll link it up below for you. And this is data jar. Super powerful, super simple to understand. I'll link up the video on how to use data jar below. Speaking of data jar, sometimes when we're dealing with text, we want to modify that text. Maybe we want to make it capitalized, or we want to use camel case, or we want to do something that we wouldn't ordinarily need to do, or we want to format it a specific way. The way we do that is we use a shortcut called text case. Now, text case works within shortcuts, and it works really well actually. And this is text case right here. So I'm gonna click into it, and this just does exactly what it says. It's really simple, but it allows us to manipulate our text. So whatever text we pull in, you can see we can do some really cool things with it. Uppercase, lowercase, capitalized words, synthesis case, reverse. We can do all kind of stuff with this. And believe it or not, this comes in handy more than you may think. So this is a staple in mine as well. The next one, when it comes to just making sure we're making our content look as good as possible, is going to be Charty. Now, Charty just allows us to take numbers and create nice looking graphs out of them. So that's honestly the premise of Charty. It's really simple, but really powerful too. So it's called Charty for shortcuts. This is it right here. And you can see right here, this is some of the types of charts we can create, some of the things we can do with it. And you can see they also give us 43 examples of shortcuts included, which in my personal opinion is super duper cool because it sparks that creativity to show you what you can do with this app. All right. Now, you've seen that I installed Obsidian earlier. So with Obsidian, for me personally, actions for Obsidian is a must. It makes everything super easy. You don't have to use actions for Obsidian. I have a video on this channel that shows you how I was doing it before Actions for Obsidian came out. I'll also link that up below so you can check it out. But Actions for Obsidian makes it super duper simple to use. So we're going to come over here and we're going to look up Actions for Obsidian. And you can see Actions for Obsidian gives us, first we're going to click on install. And you can see it gives us 30 plus shortcut actions working with Obsidian. Now, again, I don't know why the developers put all that time and effort into creating these apps and then don't put the same amount of time and effort into marketing their apps aggressively. But I promise you, as always, this is worth its weight in gold. This app does a lot of cool, fancy stuff. So I highly recommend you install it. They do have a free version. The paid version, the free version is a little annoying. I'll caution you on that, meaning every time you use it, it's gonna send you back to the consider order buying it now thing showing you how many times you used it. And another thing I don't like about it is even after you pay for it, it still redirects you. Every time you use actions for Obsidian, for whatever reason, it has to open up the actions for Obsidian app and it lands you on there versus taking you back to shortcuts or taking you into Obsidian to open up that specific file. So those are some downsides to it. However, it's not enough to stop me from using it because by far this is the best thing Obsidian has going for it when it comes to getting information into Obsidian. So actions for Obsidian is way worth it to me. All right, so the next one is going to be Nautomate. Now, Nautomate for me is what I would have used when I was using Notion. Now, I do have a video on this channel about Nautomate. I'll link that up for you below as well. However, I really don't use Notion like I used to, but I'm gonna install it anyway because I'm inevitably going to install Notion on this device at some point, and I want to make sure Nautomate is installed on it. So let's install Nautomate. All right, and this is Nautomate right here. So what I want to do is I'm just going to show you. It adds on 35 plus powerful Notion actions for shortcuts. This is specifically for Notion. So if you don't use Notion, then you might want to skip over this one right here because if you don't use Notion, this won't do you any good. Now, one of the things that I didn't like is I don't have an iPhone 15. I want one, but honestly, I prioritize grabbing a lot of other tech over updating my iPhone 14 Pro Max. So therefore, I don't have that action button on the side. However, there is a shortcut, rather an app out here that'll allow you to tap into shortcuts. And when you push it, it actually acts as if you had an action button that was activating shortcut, and that is called Lock Launcher. Lock Launcher is right here, and you can see this is exactly what it does. I'm going to install it. I'm going to click right here, and this right here is what I use it for. These 4 icons are action buttons, and they're going to launch into, well, I don't know what it's launching into right here, but for me, it launches into a shortcut. These might just be opening up the apps. I don't know. You can do other stuff, like you can have all this stuff right here if you wanted to, but for me personally, this is overwhelming to me and give me anxiety just looking at it. So that's not what I use it for. I just use it for this one feature right here. But I mean, if this is your jam, then by all means you can definitely do it. This is Lock Launcher, super powerful. Now, before iOS 17, it was a big deal with us wanting to use automation. If we wanted to use automation, we had to confirm it, and confirm it just simply means we got a notification that popped up and we had to accept that notification before the automation would run. Now, there are some that still do that. Like for whatever reason, when I try to send a text on automation, although I say, I don't need to confirm it, just run the automation, it doesn't do it. It still pop up and want me to, physically hit send. If we want to get around that, we use an app like Pushcut. Pushcut allows us to create a server, and the only thing Pushcut job is to do is to look for when those automations pop up, those notifications pop up, Pushcuts will confirm it, and then that automation will automatically run without us doing anything to it. Now, we do need an app or a iOS device laying around that we're not using. It has to be plugged up, and it's going to have the server running to Pushcut the whole time. So that way, when Pushcut see that notification pop up, it's going to automatically accept it and move on with our day, I guess. So with that being said, let me show you that. All right, so Pushcut is right here. All right, so this is Pushcut. I'm going to install it. And again, it does some pretty cool stuff. Like I said, the main reason why most people like it is because of the server. And you can also use Pushcuts with home automation, which honestly, it allows you to do some things that you wouldn't be able to do. So Pushcuts is definitely worth this wait and go if you really want to geek out over this stuff. The next one I'm going to install, which it has nothing to do with shortcuts, but it has everything to do with just being able to take advantage of AI, and that is ChatGPT. We can do some pretty cool stuff using shortcuts with ChatGPT. So I highly recommend you install ChatGPT. And I got tongue tied there, but I highly recommend you install ChatGPT. And I've tried a lot of AIs, as you can see, but for me personally, I like ChatGPT the best. And it again is built in, has shortcuts built in. Now, these last 3 shortcuts, that I'm gonna install is optional, and they're not shortcuts. They're more like shortcut utilities. But these last three are optional. They're all based around if you want to really get into the weeds of your shortcuts and be able to look at the code, or if you're running JSON or you're running scripts that you download off the internet or something like that, then that's what these are for. If you're not doing that kind of stuff, then you don't need them. I personally would tell you that if you got the storage and it's not an issue, I would say install it anyway, because you never know when you're gonna want to go to that next level with shortcuts. But again, it's up to you. So the very first one we're going to run is scriptable. So this is going to be the very first one that we install. This is script. Now, basically what scriptable allows you to do is actually, you see these are actually snippets of JavaScript code, but they're able to be ran using the Shortcuts app. That's what these are. So you can see if we were to open up one of these, you can see this is actual code, and then it's being passed through, and Shortcuts is running it as a shortcut, because all shortcuts are snippets of JavaScript. So that's the reason why. So you're able to modify it and things like that. So again, it's kind of geeky if you're not into it. I get it, but it is one of those must-haves on my iPad. The next one we're going to install is JSON. Now, again, JSON is exactly what it sounds like. It allows us to view and edit JavaScript code on our device. The next one that we're going to install, and again, JSON is exactly what I said. If we take a look at it, it allows us to, edit JavaScript on our device. And the last one that I'm going to install is Logger for shortcuts. Now, this one right here is pretty cool because, again, this one allows us to look at, so if you look right here, you can see here is our shortcut, and here's the output of what that shortcut is doing. So this is our shortcut, this is our code for that shortcut. So we can see the output in real time of what that shortcut is doing. So for me personally, I really like it, because if you're having an issue with a shortcut or something like that, and you understand JavaScript, or you're learning it like I am, because let's make no mistake about it, I'm far from a JavaScript developer or anything close to it. What I'm doing is learning JavaScript, and I'm learning it through the eyes of automation. So I'm not even getting into the weeds of trying to build websites and all that other stuff. I just want to be able to create snippets of JavaScript to do what I wanted to do when there is no solution inside of shortcuts to do it. That's the whole reason why I'm learning JavaScript. So that's the reason why I have this on here, because it allows me to see that, yeah, it's pretty cool that we could drag blocks around, but it's even cooler when you can see what dragging those blocks around, the code on the back, is actually doing and why it's working. So for me, just helps me learn faster and easier. But this is how I would set up my system when I'm first getting started. This is how I set up all my systems when I'm first getting started. Again, all those videos that I mentioned, I'll link up below. The video that's popping up right now is the one that YouTube think is best for you. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. And until next time, later.